Atomfall is already verified for the Steam Deck, but does it actually deserve that title? Well, in this case, I can actually say without a doubt, yes, it does. Huge thanks to Rebellion for giving me a key to test this out early. It officially releases on March the 27th, but I'm so happy to be able to have got to play this early. There's so many aspects to this game, not just the survival elements and the story, but we've also got treasure hunting for caches and lunchboxes, as well as trying to survive deadly fish. Stealth will take a bit of work in this one, especially when you dive into an enemy camp, but let's have a look at the settings. The out-of-the-box settings are actually pretty decent here. So I'm just going to reset back to the default so that you can see what this will give you out of the box. This is one of the more graphically intense areas in the early stages, so you don't expect a full 60 frames per second with the out-of-the-box settings here. And if I go in and customize these slightly, because I don't want motion blur on, and also obscurance fields does take a little bit extra that we don't really need. And of course, shadows always take a bit too much processing on the deck than we would like, so drop that one down to low. The most important setting to change though overall, regardless of your settings, is to turn async compute off. If you don't, you will get a lot of load spikes and lag areas when you're running around the map, as it dynamically updates the shaders and loads in the next section of the map. Without that on, you will barely even notice any load spikes, and you'll have a pretty much continuous run around the maps. However, we're not able to hold a perfect 60 frames per second out and about, and when we have combat in the outside world, that even goes a little bit lower. But it's not the end of the world. When we're in instance areas, we can hold that 60 frames per second pretty solid, but we are pushing higher wattage. Now, in the instance areas, you'll see we drop down as low as 12 watts, which is awesome, and why we can hold that 60 frames per second more solidly. Cutscenes and dialogue is very well done. But out in the outside world, we're pushing 21 to 22 watts. Now, if you are happy keeping the medium settings and having a wave of the frames per second dipping down into 40 sometimes, but then getting 60 when you can, then these settings are absolutely perfect for you. If you do want that stability though, and do also want to save a little bit of battery life, then you will be better off capping the Steam Deck OLED at 45 frames per second and the Steam Deck LCD at 40. You can push it down to low if you want to really hold that 60 frames per second solid, but this is a pretty decent looking game, and those frames per second really aren't all that in this one, so dipping down into the 40s really isn't that noticeable, especially when most of the time, if you do get yourself into a combat situation, we only get a single shot or a few swings of the bat before we are trying to get out of the way, and those extra few frames per second really aren't going to help you too much. Overall though, Atomfall is working fantastically well on the Steam Deck and definitely deserves its verified status, so do check this one out when it launches on the 27th. Let us know in the comments below if you're picking this up and what type of weapon you think you're going to be choosing to try and survive in Atomfall. I'll leave you with a bit more of the gameplay without me talking so that you can get a better feel for the gameplay and performance. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.
Bastard, they've gone. Lost them. Damn it. Knew it. Someone's here. I've killed far worse than you.